I've been using the GameSir X2s mobile gaming controller for a little over a week now, and I'm absolutely loving this thing. I've been using its predecessor, let me pull it out right here, the regular GameSir X2 for over a year now, and the new X2s just adds on to what already worked really well in that controller. So let me just tell you why this is basically my favorite gaming controller for Android phones. First things first, the GameSir X2s and the X2 before it are some of the only telescopic gaming controllers that have a USB Type-C port on the left half. So a lot of other controllers have a Type-C port on the right half, and the reason that's important to me specifically is because it makes it friendly to use with book-style foldable phones like the OnePlus Open. Imagine if the port was on the right. I would have to extend half of my screen below it, so I would basically have like this right here, with half the screen extending below the controller, and that would be really unergonomic to use. But fortunately, I don't have to do that because I can just stick it in like right here, and let me just show you quickly. I can just use this extending Type-C port. I can just plug it in, and then what I do is I just extend this outward.
You're blowing my mind using one of these things on a foldable,
it's crazy. It's so good.
It's so good.
That's cool.
Even though it's so big, by the way. Oh, this is something I'll talk about later. The app is a little buggy. Yeah, right. Perfect, huh? It just had to crash right there. But even with how big this looks in hand, like ergonomically, it feels great to hold. It has soft, rounded corners that make it easy to place against my palm, as well as a rubber grip on the back that you can place your fingers over. All the face and shoulder buttons feel great and are very clicky. Like, it does feel a bit heavy to hold. As you can see, this thing is massive after a few hours of gaming. But I chalk that up mainly to how I play it, lying down on my couch and then like holding this thing up while looking down on it from underneath, and basically holding this thing up without any elbow support for like a couple hours. And it is kind of heavy compared to the Razer Kishi. This thing by itself is about 100 grams heavier than the Razer Kishi or comparable controllers, but I think it's just constructed significantly better. The Kishi to me felt flimsy and cheap, whereas this, just a harder plastic shell, it just feels much sturdier. At no point have I felt that my phone was going to fall out or be damaged when enclosed. It's pretty easy, as I showed you, to get this phone in and out. Like, just to get it out, all I gotta do is extend this out a little bit. And then, basically what I do is like this, just pull it up a little bit, and then it just pops right out. And then you can just plug it back in, because the Type-C port can be angled, right? So it's just really easy to pop in and out.
Can you, when it's in there, can I ask you a real quick question because it's so foldable? Oh, no, it's folding the wrong way. I was wondering, or no, it's not. Can you fold the top of that down a little bit, or would that even, I don't even think.
Oh, no, I can do that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know what that would give you, but,
But you can.
Can. Yeah.
I mean, if you want to play it like a Nintendo DS, if you have like a Nintendo DS emulator, totally.
Oh, wow.
Totally up
I
to
bet
you.
a DS emulator if Nintendo wasn't nuking them at this point.
I was going to say, yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
You could. It's easy to get the phone in and out, as I said, and the best part is that all the parts that the phone comes in contact with are protected by like this really kind of hard rubber part, so you don't have to worry at all about like your phone getting damaged. And there's even like a slight gap, it's kind of hard to see, between the part here and the camera bump, so nothing ever gets scratched for me. And another key aspect of the controller is its use of Hall effect joysticks. So these joysticks have a magnetic field sensor to measure position and movement of my joystick input. In contrast, standard analog joysticks use potentiometers to measure position and movement. And if you're a gamer, one benefit you may have heard about of Hall effect joysticks is that they're significantly less susceptible to stick drift, which is when your stick is basically moving in games even when it should be in its neutral position. And I mean, I can't tell you if this is actually a problem with this controller in particular, because I just have not had it nearly long enough. I've only had it for about a week. And to be fair, I've had my regular GameSir X2 for over a year, and I still don't have stick drift on that. But that is a problem that can happen long term with these kinds of joysticks on these kinds of controllers, which are much more common. Hall effect joysticks are not nearly as common as the regular potentiometer-based joysticks. But so, if you plan to use this for a long time, it is definitely nice to have that, as a feature. And as a bonus, GameSir includes 2 pairs of silicone grips. I have added the convex silicone grips to my device potentially, and they feel really, really nice to use. But if you prefer concave, they also had it in this little packet that they give you with the controller that's inside this box. Okay, and this controller also has Hall effect analog triggers. So what that does is allows you to switch between hair and analog trigger modes if you press down on the capture key, which is this bottom left button, plus the left and right triggers for 2 seconds. In the default analog trigger mode, the triggers are pressure sensitive and can detect exactly how much you're pressing down. I'm going to open up the GameSir controller, a GameSir app. Hopefully it doesn't crash. Hopefully I can show you the gamepad test. So I'm like pressing down right now. You can kind of see it's like pressure sensitive, right? A lot of controllers, like if you enable the hair trigger mode, if I just tap it lightly, it would go immediately to 255. It would take a little bit of time to change mode, so I'm not going to do that right now. But this is the default analog mode. It's like detecting exactly how much pressure I'm putting down. You can also enable turbo mode for any of the face or shoulder buttons by pressing down on the capture key, then tapping the button you want. This basically, just sets the rapid input of buttons, so you don't have to like constantly mash A and you're by yourself. By default, the controller has an Xbox style button layout, so A, B, X, Y. But if you want to swap the A, B button so that B is basically here and A is here to match the Nintendo Switch layout, you can hold the capture plus A button down for 2 seconds, and that swaps these two buttons so that they do the opposite of what they do right now. You can also change from the default X input mode to the direct input mode by holding the GameSir and this S button here down for a couple of seconds. There's also awesomely a G-Touch mode, which is a really weird name, but what it does is it allows you to map button inputs to touches on screen. And you can only do this by launching a game directly through the GameSir app. Here I have a screenshot of Genshin Impact, which normally does not support controller inputs, but through G-Touch mode, I'm able to basically, you can see here, this is just a screenshot, but like I had A mapped to the attack button, B mapped to the jump button, and then like my left analog stick allows me to move the game character left and right, the camera left and right. This is much better than third-party solutions like third-party apps like Mantis Gamepad, which also can map button inputs. But those use kind of like hacky workarounds to intercept your key presses on your controller, and then they inject touch inputs. So this is a much better built-in solution offered through the GameSir app, which also offers a whole bunch of other features to, test your gamepad, update the firmware, change your buttons, etc. The last thing I wanted to mention is that there's a pass-through USB Type-C port at the bottom so that you can charge your phone while you're gaming. That's really nice so that you can game for longer, or you're short on battery and you don't want to quit your gaming session. So overall, this device is a great gaming controller considering the build quality, the number of features it has, just how many hours you can sink into gaming on your phone with this. Like, I love the original GameSir X2, and ever since I got a book-style foldable, since first starting with the Galaxy Z Fold 5 and now the OnePlus Open, I've just been playing so much more games on my phone because I just did not find it comfortable to game on a regular candy bar phone that would just look like a Nintendo Switch. I have a Switch, right? But I'd never game in the handheld mode because I just didn't find it big enough. But with the book-style foldable and with a controller that's basically made for foldables, I've been gaming so much more than I thought I would. And the best part is this thing only costs $45.99 on Amazon, which I think is a fair price considering the sheer number of things you get.
Super fair.
The original GameSir X2 also costs $45.99, but the GameSir X2s adds those additional features like the Hall effect triggers and joysticks. Compared to some competitors, it's missing some features like a built-in cooling fan, 3.5mm pass-through audio jack, and as you saw earlier in the video, a less buggy app because it can sometimes crash on this device. But I still think the controller itself, with everything it offers, is more than enough. Like, I didn't even use the app until I started reviewing it. Like, I didn't know it offered those extra features because I just found everything it offered by itself, just the ergonomics, perfectly fine. So you don't even have to use the app if you don't want to. But if you want to play games that don't support button inputs, then I highly recommend you do check out the app. And if you want a game on your foldable, I highly recommend you do check out this controller for your foldable phone, or if you have a regular clamshell phone, for that device as well.